Hello, best podcast fans in the world. This is AG from Mueller, She Wrote, and I just wanted to remind you about our live Q&A panel and meet and greet coming up this July 3rd at the world-famous Comedy Store in La Jolla. The next day is a holiday, so come out and spend your summer vacation with us. We still have some free VIP tickets to give away to new patrons. The VIP tickets get you access to the post-panel cocktail meet and greet, where you can hang out and have some wine with the host and the crew. So head to MuellerSheWrote.com now to become a patron and get your free VIP tickets, or head to Eventbrite for your tickets. Or you can call 858-454-9176, and we'll see you July 3rd.
So to be clear, Mr. Trump has no financial relationships with any Russian oligarchs.
That's what he said. That's what I said. That's obviously what our position is.
I'm not aware of any of those activities. I have been called a surrogate at a time or two in that campaign, and I did not have communications with the Russians.
What do I have to get involved with Putin for? I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
So, it is political. You're a communist.
No, Mr. Green. Communism is just a red herring. Like all members of the oldest profession, I'm a capitalist.
Hello, welcome to Mueller, She Wrote. I'm your anonymous host, AG, botching the Snatch Act. With me, as always, is Jaleesa Johnson.
Hi.
And Jordan Coburn.
Hello.
And we had a tough week this week. On top of the crushing Supreme Court decisions about anti-abortion clinics, workers' rights, gerrymandering, and the Trump Muslim ban, we found out we're losing Justice Kennedy. And he's a moderate justice. And he's leaving at the end of July, giving Trump an opportunity to choose a new justice. I'll be going over that a little bit later in the show. And then the emergency hearing of the House Judiciary Committee being granted, and the non-binding resolution passed by the House to subpoena Rosenstein for shit they know he can't turn over.
Yeah.
That will inevitably become a pretext to fire him, so Trump can fire him. It was a tough week, all in all.
Yeah, so depressing.
I know. I was out of town all week for a super secret government ego project.
The secret government ego project.
So what were you guys up to while I was away?
Doing some shows. Yeah, I do like a weekly show at my house. Like we turn my living room into a comedy club, basically.
That's a big thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that,
the
like
DIY shows,
home style shows in
Punk
your
style
living room.
Yeah.
I've noticed that happening. I would never do that.
I mean, you have a nice living room. I would not recommend it at your place. Too nice. But my place is really like a hostel. I live with like a billion roommates, and they're all starving artists. Yeah, so it's perfect.
True. Do people have to pay to go?
No, but they donate. They give us tips, and we have enough to like rent chairs and like get food. And
so this to me sounds like what we would call in high school a party.
Yeah, it's pretty much a house party comedy show. Yeah.
It's just
there is
one
a
lot
person,
of weed smoking.
It's just one person gets to tell a
Jordan
story
did it.
at a time, and everyone
so
has
fun.
to listen.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's fantastic to me.
It was great.
I think that's great.
3 people came from Chicago randomly.
Yeah, people from Boston are having someone from New York City.
You set up the best shows, dude.
Thank you.
And like they were here from Chicago, and then they came. They didn't come from Chicago for the show.
Right.
They flew in.
They just happened. No, I'm not that cool.
I thought they flew in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's still great, and I think that's. I think this. I don't know. We have to. Something needs to change. We need something new.
Yeah.
In comedy, and I know we raised enough money this week to get Jimmy Wolpert a bench.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I know I donated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna feel a little weird sitting on it. Like,
I think that's nice though. I think he would have liked that. I really do, because like I heard. No, it always sounds weird, but out of context, I would say
all dudes love when I sit on them.
Yes.
Basically, he just loved having long talks with people, specifically at this place like in Poway that was like on a cliff, and so he was all about like long chats and just chilling and hanging out. And I think a bench is actually a really cool way to.
It's the perfect way.
Mm-hmm.
It really is the perfect thing, and I'm glad we got it. And I think we should have a mic there when it opens.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
We should christen it. What did he drink? What was his drink?
I think Jameson. Yeah.
So we should crack a bottle of Jameson on the bench. And name it, and then have a mic. I don't know.
That's cool.
Maybe
Pop up mic.
Make it a bringer.
Yeah, I'm down.
Just kidding. He would
Jimmy
love that.
hated bringers.
I know, that's why he would love it. But yeah, I was proud to donate to that. We did have some wins this week, and I'll go over those in the news. Jordan is going to be reporting on another Roger Stone connection. He has so many. And Jaleesa, you're going to talk to us about what? Psy Group, right? Scott Stedman had an update on the Psy Group.
Scott, the homie.
Yeah, what a cool guest he was. And we have a very special guest this week. We have an anonymous representative from Rogue NASA. Okay. And we'll talk to him later in the show. Now, Rogue NASA is... It's, all the alt government employee groups that are out there, like, alt White House staffer or rogue White House staffer or rogue this or that. Well, there's a Rogue NASA. They have almost 1 million followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
I know that their proceeds from their shirt sales go to charity, and they're just a very cool group. And basically, I think what they want to do is make sure that if the government, our government, Trump, ever takes down their science statistics, their global climate change statistics, etc. Facts. That they'll be there to continue to have.
That's incredible.
To give them.
Yeah,
So,
and the Holocaust. I mean, I'm not saying that we're exactly going through that. I'm just
whoa,
saying that,
left turn.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
I was gonna say.
In times of really
It'll warm me
tragic
up to the
societal,
Holocaust.
like like desperate times. Like I know this sounds like really light and cool because NASA is cool, especially Rogue NASA sounds really cool and mysterious. But it's also pretty interesting just considering like what they're doing, the collection of like this information that and fear that the president might not let it come out someday, like
or destroy it.
It. I remember, there's just happened way back in the day. There's better examples in the Holocaust. I'm so sorry. I know.
Right to poop and slavery.
Yes.
Happy Monday.
I just think in extremes, but yeah, there's so many better examples, and just destroying.
No, you're right.
Destroying information.
The fact that those data are, I don't know, in danger is scary.
Yeah. I can just see him. He's gonna like unwrite Newton's laws.
Yeah.
If it somehow benefits him.
And people will believe it.
An
if
object
they don't
in
know
motion
the difference.
stays at rest. That's the new law. And an object at rest stays in motion. It's the way. It's going to be the way.
See, now I'm confused again.
Yeah.
If you drop an apple, nothing happens.
Yeah. Every force does not have a reaction because I'm an authoritarian leader and I only do the forcing. I love it.
For every action, there's an equal and non-zero net non-action.
And he wouldn't get any of these.
And you'll like it.
Yeah. He'd be so sad that he wouldn't understand.
Entropy isn't real. I'm 100% efficient. Thank you. Okay, wow, that was pretty nerdy.
Super nerdy.
That was fun.
But it's a NASA episode, so that's appropriate.
And I'm super excited to talk to Rogue NASA. It's going to be fun. And guys, our live event is tomorrow in San Diego at the La Jolla Comedy Store. I can't wait for that. I also can't wait to figure out what we're going to do.
Yes. It's mysterious, just like AG.
But am I going to wear disguise?
Paper bag.
People want me to wear paper, but I'm
Question mark? Yeah.
But I'm so pretty.
You are.
With the big reveal. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, tickets are on sale right now at Eventbrite. Get them because there's a lot of people interested in going to this event. So I don't want you to be without a ticket. Or you can search on Facebook for Mueller, She Wrote Live. The links are there to the Eventbrite ticket situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get into it, you guys. Let's get into the news this week with just the facts. All right. Monday, the Department of Justice gave more documents to Devin Nunes because he's got a boner for him. And they seem to keep buying more time for Mueller. They'll Nunes will be like, I need 76 documents. And they'll be like, here's half a document. And they'll just keep like slow feeding him these documents all the while. And I guess he's too stupid to notice that they're just buying time from Mueller. But that's what I think is happening.
Interesting.
We could be months away from a finish to this investigation. We could be a year away from a finish to this investigation. It's impossible to know, which we can credit to the leakless ship that Mueller is captaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the House Judiciary Committee, I mentioned this at the top of the show, the House Judiciary Committee decided to call an emergency hearing, to interview FBI Director Christopher Wray and Deputy AG Rosenstein. And I heard Asha Rangappa calls him Snoop Dagg.
Snoop Dagg?
Yeah, DAG.
Oh my goodness.
So I might call him Snoop Dagg from now on.
That's awesome.
He's from Philly. He's no shit.
Oh.
Anyway, they had a hearing with those guys. Initially, Ted Lieu, one of our Democratic representatives, challenged the existence of the hearing. He's like, this is stupid. He actually said on the floor, he's like, this is stupid. An emergency hearing. And Nadler, who opened up, he's the ranking...
Jerry.
Ranking minority member, ranking Democrat, gave this big speech up front, like, you want to know what real emergencies are? Children are being ripped away from their parents on the border.
Right.
That's an emergency. Russia is currently interfering with our election, and you're going to go suck Putin's dick next month. That is an emergency. And he just went. He didn't. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Right.
But he gave listed
If he
off.
could say that, he would.
He would. He listed off all these. That was the feeling.
Oh, for sure. That was an incredible counter to the other bullshit opening of that hearing.
Exactly. They're like, well, we need to talk about the IG report that came out. It's like, it's out. We agree with the findings. It's 500 and something, 23 pages. What the fuck else do you want?
Right.
Read it.
And
do you hate reading?
They might.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Trump does.
Trey Gowdy's soliloquy was infuriating.
That was so funny. Little Mr. 4-year Benghazi fuckface is
Yeah.
like, you need to finish this now.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, watching those hearings too, I hate watching the actual video feed because you can really just sense their ego and what pieces of crap they are, and they just love like fucking Jim Jordan.
Well, yeah, of course.
Oh my God.
Representatives like Jordan of Ohio, they use this as a television opportunity. That's why they wanted this public hearing to go off half-cocked about their conspiracy theories. But in this glorious clip, Rosenstein handed him his ass.
Mr. Rosenstein, did you threaten staffers on the House Intelligence Committee? Media reports indicate you did.
Media reports are mistaken.
Sometimes. But this is what they said. Having the nation's #1 law enforcement officer threaten to subpoena your calls and emails is downright chilling. Did you threaten to subpoena their calls and emails?
No, sir, and there's no way to subpoena phone calls.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. I'm reading what the press said. I'm reading what the press said.
I would suggest that you not rely on what the press says, sir.
Well, I didn't ask if there's no way to do it. I asked if you said it.
If I said what?
What I just read you.
No, I did not.
Well, now who are we supposed to believe? Staff members who we've worked with, who've never misled us, or you guys who we've caught hiding information from us, who tell a witness not to answer our questions? Who are we supposed to believe?
Thank you for making clear it's not personal, Mr. Jordan.
Well, I'm saying the
You should
Department of
believe me
Justice.
because I'm telling the truth and I'm under oath. And if you want to put somebody else under oath and they have something different,
I know these
I'll be
staff
happy to
members.
respond.
After the hearing, the full House voted and passed a non-binding resolution demanding Department of Justice documents by July 6th, knowing full well, per Department of Justice policy, under a Republican-appointed Attorney General who wrote these, the DOJ cannot turn over classified documents in an open and ongoing investigation. They can't. And this could give the House cause to impeach Rosenstein, which could then, in turn, give Trump cause to fire him. So we'll see what happens on July 6th.
Yeah, I also love how, I think it was Jim Jordan who was saying it like this to Rosenstein. He's like interrogating him very aggressively, you know, and he's like, okay, well, I'm telling you that I would bet money that we're about to go in there and the House is going to pass something that says you have to give us these documents, you know, within 7 or whatever days. And then it's like,
ooh, a super partisan Russian
exactly.
bot
It's like as if it's an
Congress.
actual court of law or something that's going to rule on something. It's like, you guys are a bunch of trolls that are going to get together and vote along party lines. That doesn't mean shit.
Rosenstein's like, I'm law, you're politics. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah. So sexy, too. The way he
Snoop
held that down.
Oh, yeah.
I would not call him sexy.
He became 5 times more sexy within that
Seriously.
hearing.
It was a fun hearing to watch. It really was. And Christopher Wray's over there like, well, I don't even know. Everything they asked him, he's like, I agree with the findings.
Right.
Yeah.
This happened before I got here.
Yeah, seriously.
You know.
What a thing he inherited.
Hey, bye.
Yeah. And to think it
Yeah,
all
he says,
started-
I didn't think I would be staring down the barrel of an impeachment for not turning over classified information in an open investigation. You guys are blowing my fucking mind right now.
It makes me happy seeing Rosenstein and how strong he is right now. That was incredible. Him and Ray sitting there just handing their asses back to them like time after time after time.
You know, he's like, here is the policy. I can't give you these documents. And then he's like, well, Jim Jordan was trying to say, you're hiding information from us. He's like, no, I'm not. It's redacted classified information. He's like, yeah, you're keeping it from us. He's like, no, I don't redact that. My team redacts that. I approve it and send it to you. He's like, you're the boss. He's like, yes, I am.
I love that moment.
And I
the fuck
decide
off.
you and your dumb fucking face aren't allowed to see this shit. Like, it's an
Yeah.
open and
It
ongoing.
would be offensive to the words. Your stupid eyes and brain on them.
It would be offensive to the words on the page with your stupid eyes and brain on them. Is that what you said?
Yes.
It's perfect.
Don't touch my words with your eyes.
Yeah.
Monday, we also learned Senator Warner, he was overheard at a Democratic fundraiser in Martha's Vineyard that if someone, he said, give me another glass of wine and I'll tell you things that only Robert Mueller and I know. And then he warned us to buckle up for the next couple of months. And we're going to get into this a little bit later about where I think the trajectory of this investigation is going.
Okay.
Also, Monday, we found out Mueller is getting more evidence from Eric Prince. I'm not sure if this resurgence has to do with the investigation into the FBI New York field office leaks or more about the Psy Group and purchase of social media marketing from Russia. But Mueller's team seized his phones. They all have many phones. I have 2 phones. I have a work phone and I have because the work phone has to be secure because I do send classified information on it. But they have like 9 phones.
That's weird.
All their side hustles.
Maybe they have really bad credit, so they have to
Yeah,
go get
they're
burners
just all
at
Cricket
Cricket.
phones.
I don't know.
Life's tough out here in DC. I'm not making much.
But he seized the phones and some computers. So this is a sign that Mueller is likely trying to squeeze Prince, right, to get him to rule. Probably to roll on Donald Trump Jr. or Kushner, or maybe even Trump. I don't know. But this seems like a sign. And I think that where this would probably go is a guilty plea with cooperation.
Hell yeah.
Even though Eric Prince is kind of an asshole, I don't know if he's like a Manafort level asshole.
That's a hard bar to reach.
It is. Scott Stedman released a piece on Medium.com with an update to the Psy Group story. He's been tracking that. Jaleesa, you're going to have details for that later in the show. Bloomberg News came out with a piece Tuesday saying that the Mueller probe could overshadow the midterm elections. This backs up our theory that he's working on obstruction now, and I think he will have collusion indictments in the fall.
Before the election or during?
Kind of during.
Yeah, me too.
So put some beans on that. That's what we're saying. I think Natasha Bertrand is saying that. The Atlantic is saying it. Bloomberg is saying it. I think collusion, crimes of collusion, however they look, whether it's conspiracy or RICO or whatever those collusion crimes are, they're coming out in the fall, probably September.
Wow.
That's my thought.
Fall's my favorite time of year. I'm going to be so happy.
Yeah.
It's nice. You don't have to worry about, the heat anymore.
Yeah. In San Diego, the trees go from green to green.
Yeah. Beautiful shade of green in the fall. Yeah. And your beach body still has to look the same.
Yeah, that is a lot of pressure for San Diego.
It's not fair.
They get to look hot year round. All these.
I'm a 7
sunshine.
here. I'm a 9 in Kansas.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, so I think that there could be a round of superseding indictments on Manafort. Anyway, whatever those look like. And the fact that Trump is going to meet with Putin this month, and we'll likely see pictures of the two of them making out, probably. That could play very badly if Mueller is able to indict more Russians and maybe even some Trump campaign aides with crimes of cooperating with Russia. This could be bad optics. I don't know how good Trump is at thinking ahead. He doesn't seem that good, but when we find out that he's been like working on this relationship with Justice Kennedy for the last however many years, it kind of makes you wonder. And then, Russia's been courting him for 5 to 8 years. It's like, does he think ahead? It seems like he's thinking ahead. Could he be a step ahead of me? Probably not.
I think Putin thinks ahead and Trump does what Putin wants.
I think that's probably what has to happen. I think you're right. Then on Wednesday, an unsealed warrant application revealed a $10 million loan given to Manafort by Oleg Deripaska. This was one of the warrants that led to the approval to search Manafort's home in that pre-dawn no-knock raid. That's how old this is. The affidavit also showed that Deripaska had financially backed Manafort's consulting work in the Ukraine all the way back to 2005. That's why the statute of limitations doesn't apply here. And citing the information from a redacted source basically is how we got this information. Could maybe the redacted source is Vanderswan, Gates? I don't know. But somebody close to Manafort was cooperating prior to the no-knock raid on his house because that's how they got the information.
Mm-hmm.
So who it was, I don't know, but I'm sure Mueller's already talking to whoever that is. It could, like I said, it could be Vanderswan. He could have already gone to jail and gone home. He might already been done with this whole situation.
So true.
I think we deported that guy. Then Trump got Justice Kennedy to resign, and that sent shockwaves throughout progressive and even establishment circles. The New York Times reported a Russian connection. I'll go over that later in the show.
Oh, looking forward to that.
It's weird.
Yeah, in a really terrorized way.
Mueller filed to sentence Pineda, a Pineda, no tilde Pineda, in September. Okay, September 7th. Pineda is the American that created those fake identities for the 13 Russians that came to the U.S. and posed as citizens back in the Trump campaign as part of that country's effort to meddle in our election. So that guy is going to be sentenced in September.
I had one of those guys in college. There's a bunch of fake IDs.
Oh.
I was like, a Russia? What are you trying to say?
Yeah. Sorry, it was a poorly executed joke.
No, it was good. Another Stone aide was subpoenaed. I think that makes 3 so far that we know of. Jordan, you're going to give us info on that.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Michael Flynn's sentencing was delayed another 60 days. Remember, it was 90 days, and then they delayed it again 60 days, and we all thought, oh, they only extended it 60 days. That must mean it's going to be the end. Well, it's not. They extended it another 60 days.
Wow.
Take Baines off of it. Both parties agreed that the Flynn's lawyers and Mueller, they need more time to provide a status report. The status report was due June 29th. But Mueller and Flynn's attorneys have asked jointly for an extension to August 24th. And then later on Friday, the judge so ordered the status report due August 24th. At that time, Mueller basically will say whether or not he's ready to sentence Flynn or if he'll need more time again. The judge also issued a minute order saying they needed to file a joint application to request that by July 2nd, which is today. So basically, since we all think that there will be more indictments before there's any sentencing of these heavy cooperators, we could see a lot of indictments in July.
Wow.
Because they're asking for this report to be due by August 24th. That means that what it says to me is it turns this whole case into the rocket docket, which is what we've been talking about. And that those indictments for collusion will probably come out before August 24th. So when I said the fall, I redact that. August 24th.
Interesting.
Unless they extend it again. They might extend it again.
Yeah.
The problem is then you run into the election.
Right.
So, and you don't want to be accused of meddling in the election.
I was just gonna say, we'll
Trump
see
will suck
Mueller's
your
book
dick if that happens.
in a little bit. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. The sentencing of these guys could happen before then. I have a picture of the court filing. It'll be in the newsletter this week. Jordan, you put together this amazing newsletter for us every Thursday morning.
Yes.
Yes. You can get that by becoming a patron at patreon.com/MuellerSheWrote. Then we learned Friday, that Thursday night, the night before, Manafort wrote an appeal saying he doesn't like it in jail and he wants to go home.
He's all alone.
They put him in solitary.
Yeah. That's probably better.
That's mentally anguishing.
Definitely.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
F that guy. So yeah, but he wants to go home.
Can you imagine just being with your thoughts when you're such a horrible person? That is the torture.
I
think that's the point. But man. He's in there all by himself. And his lawyers are trying to say, look, we can't put a case together like this. We live 2 hours away, and we have to drive every time we want to meet him. He's like, you know what? You should have thought of that before you witness tampered. And
welcome to the lives of so many spouses across America.
Thank you. And just most citizens, poor people, brown people, everyone that's treated with less privilege.
Yeah, oh, does that suck? Oh, it's too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't even give a fuck.
Oh yeah.
And he's going down. People get angry at me on social media. They're like, I can't believe you have so much hatred and that you want to see people in jail and suffer. And I'm like, if it's him?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever seen Inglourious Bastards, but yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
And he's inadvertently and directly caused the suffering and deaths possibly of many people.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So fuck that guy.
I blame that whole campaign for what's going on at the border right now. It's anything. I don't even want to talk about what might happen with a new hard right Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
We'll get into that after the break, but those are the facts. We'll be right back. Hello. Thanks for listening to Mueller, She Wrote. I'm talking to you because we could use your help. There's lots of costs associated with creating a podcast. There's editing, sound equipment, writing and research, hosting, shipping costs and merch, branding and web design, consulting and IT, and I'm not too proud to ask for your support. Our patrons are the single source of revenue to cover these costs, and to be totally transparent, we're still in the red. That's where you come in. By becoming a patron, you not only support our efforts, but you support women in podcasting and media. And the best part is that it's not a one-way street. In return for your pledge, you'll get access to our bonus content and ad-free episodes. You'll receive our weekly newsletter and our MSW Book Club membership. And you'll get all sorts of great rewards like t-shirts, stickers, reusable tote bags made from 100% recycled materials, and even our limited edition polonium tea from Russia with Love, created just for us by our friends at joyceteaspoon.com. So please help us out and head over to MuellerSheWrote.com and subscribe today. You'll be glad you did. Hot notes. All right, welcome back. Thank you guys for sticking around. You'll be glad you did, because I'm going to address the retirement of Justice Kennedy and potential squid pro quo and maybe a Russian connection. But first, Jaleesa, you have an update for us on the Scott Stedman story in Medium about the Psy Group, right?
Yes,
and if
I
you
do.
remember, we thought they were Israeli, but then Scott found out they were funded mostly by Russian money. And now apparently he has an additional update.
Yep. So, yeah, Scott's the homie. He has a really good article in Medium called Psy Group Sister Company Controlled by Russian Billionaire. So, Psy Group, as we know, is a private intelligence company that met with Trump Jr., Eric Prince, and George Nader during the 2016 election campaign. And after a month-long investigation into this group, it's been revealed that one of Psy Group's sister companies is controlled by a Russian billionaire. So, Mueller's following the money. So the CEO of Psy Group, Joel Zamel, met with Trump's people in August 2016 to pitch their social media strategy to the campaign.
Right, and everybody, that's the second Trump Tower meeting that we've been talking about. There are two now. It's not just June, it's August.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's another thing that went down.
The one with that footage that came out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's
No,
Cohen.
not that one.
No, that's Cohen.
Oh, they all
that's
had
right,
meetings at
that's
Trump
right.
Tower, which is, I get them confused too, but yeah, this one
Yeah,
is
sorry, I should
There's so
definitely
many
know
Trump
that.
Tower
Sorry.
meetings. I know, I apologize. But do you remember the first June with Veselnitskaya, the
Right.
Trump Tower meeting? There's another one just like that, just as big, with Nader,
like their
Prince,
actual team.
and,
Yeah.
and the Psy Group in August 2nd or 3rd. And that also correlates with when Deripaska was landing and Manafort and Kalimnik were dining.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
he took all that back, and Nastya Rybka got the video on the yacht, and now she's in jail, and Navalny released a tape and he's in jail. So that whole thing kind of happened right at that same time too. So when you tie it all together, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, the whole web is pretty crazy.
It really is.
So the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times reported that after Trump was elected, Nader paid Zamel $2 million.
The world died. The end.
Yeah, basically. So supposedly this $2 million was for an unrelated venture in which another one of Zamel's companies created a presentation demonstrating the impact of social media and pretty much its impact on Trump getting elected. So Zamel's lawyer, Mark Mukasey, said, quote, "Not only are you treading over ground that has been well traversed by others to no avail, but your facts are also wrong. You're chasing ghosts." He just talks funny to me, I think.
Yeah, and we've heard that before because we've talked about this particular event.
Yes,
and then the subsequent event, and then of course Mukasey going, "Oh, you're chasing ghosts."
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And so he also is claiming nothing came out of the Trump Tower meeting. So as we know from previous reporting, Psy Group's parent company, Protexter Limited, is registered in the British Virgin Islands. However, we just learned that one of Protexter's other companies, MGTM Financial Services Limited, is controlled by a multi-billion-dollar Moscow-based business association called Metropole Group. So,
MGTM?
Yeah, MGTM.
So it's like MGMT,
like the band,
but more
stupid. Exactly.
and
Yeah.
illegal.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
So-
probably not on hallucinogens.
Yeah. Not as cool.
Damn it!
They might need them. Yeah.
I need my British Virgin Island shell companies to be on hallucinogens at all times.
Yes. So a 2016 report prepared by MGTM confirms that the company is, quote, under the common control of Metropole Group. Furthermore, the MGTM website was registered under a Metropole employee, and the two original directors of the company were Metropole's COO and the head of debt and instruments for them. So basically, there's no denying that
Head of debt and instruments.
the head of debt instruments. So basically, they controlled
they bought
the debt.
assets.
Yeah.
I get it.
It's
I'm
pretty-
like, what?
Yeah, well, there's no denying that MGTM and Metropole were super tight.
God, I hate the name of that. It's bothering me.
Yeah, it's really
My OCD is angry. It's MGMT.
I know. I was thinking the same thing, and even autocorrect doesn't want it to be MGTM.
Right. It's all like squiggly red.
Exactly. Yeah, squiggly red line.
Yeah, they should rethink that. Go to Home Depot, pick up some paint chips, pick a color,
Change
and
your
call
whole
your
brand.
Summer Breeze.
There you go. Absolutely.
Surf Horizon.
So they're the sister company of Psy Group, and they're an intelligence company that tried to work with Trump during the 2016 election. So all of these roads keep leading back to Russia. In fact, Metropol is controlled by a Russian billionaire named Mikhail Slipenchuk.
That's what happens like after you vomit at a party or something.
It's when you throw up and slip in it.
Oh, that's great.
Slip and chuck. Although reverse order, I guess that would be chuck and slip.
Yeah, there you go.
Slip and chuck, yeah. You slip on the marble floor, you hit your head, you vomit.
I love it.
Slip and chuck.
That is the most slapstick last name I've
Yeah.
ever heard.
I like. What's his first name?
Mikhail. Yes.
This sounds like a great stage name for a comedian. Mikhail Slip and Chuck.
Yes. That put a smile on my face.
And he comes out in like a Hawaiian shirt and some cargo shorts, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Slip and Chuck."
Just fake slipping around.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing ever.
Dunk.
That makes me so happy.
There's an old joke by George Carlin called where he talks about a hotel being called the Sleep and Fuck.
Oh God.
And it's got one of those neon signs that's like sleep, fuck, sleep, fuck, sleep and fuck, sleep and fuck, sleep and fuck. So when you said slip and chuck, that was immediately what I thought.
Oh my
So
goodness.
funny.
Slip, chuck, slip, chuck, slip and chuck, slip and chuck, slip and chuck. Okay, we spent a lot of time on that last name,
That's a
but it
fun
had to be
one.
addressed. I'd never heard
It's
it before.
too good to not riff.
That's
on it.
beautiful.
God, I hope he's indicted because then we can say it again.
Oh yeah, he'll come up again, I bet.
I hope so. It's fun.
So this guy, our new favorite character, he's a government official and member of Putin's political party, or at least he was from 2011 to 2016. And after Slipenchuk's offshore empire was revealed in 2016 by the Panama Papers, he decided not to seek re-election. Good call. So he's still pretty well connected in Russia's business and political worlds, though. And something else worth mentioning is that the money trail of shell companies associated with Psy Group all come down to the Cyprus branch of a company called Trident Trust.
May I take your trident, sir?
Yes.
Trident Trust is a provider of corporate trust and fund administration services, and Protexter, along with 15 other companies, is listed under the Cyprus branch. So the really interesting thing about this is even though Trident has thousands of companies around the world, the Cyprus branch only accounts for 16 of those companies. And so Mueller is looking into all 16 of them because for some reason, public information on them is really hard to find.
Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah.
How come I don't have any shell companies? I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah.
On something.
You're out of the loop.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many.
You could probably afford one of them, or I don't know how much they cost. How much is one shell company?
Yeah.
It's not how it
I
works.
think you just set it up. I don't think you do anything.
Could you put like $1 in there? Could I have a shell company?
I don't even think it's a bank account
They
situation.
wouldn't even let me.
I think it's just put a DBA in the newspaper and say I'm starting a thing, and then find a piece of shit shack that you can maybe, I don't know, rent for $1 a month or whatever. Wow. So you have an address, and then voila.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Sell shells from it.
Being Mueller,
Yeah, sell shells by the seashore.
she sells seashells from her shell company. I think Mueller, she wrote, is like actually a more legitimate business than
Yeah.
I mean, we
shell
should.
companies
Yeah,
are.
just like doesn't John Oliver always get like fake like companies just for the irony?
He started a super PAC too.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if we could do
so
that.
did Stephen Colbert. Yeah, we should do something
so
fun because
good.
we're comedians. We can do something silly. Let's get like a stupid shell company.
But,
Spend $1.
but then all the money goes to charity, right? So,
Yeah, of course. We'll just like somehow wire it back to
Like
like
Marlon
Swing
Bundo.
Blue. Yeah.
Like the Marlon Bundo book, the Better Bundo book.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
you
funny.
can use shell companies for good, right? I think the problem is that
You can do whatever you want
they
with the
use
money.
them for like shady stuff. Is
Well,
often
that's
the-
because you're
yeah.
hiding
If
it.
you're already that greedy, you're probably not.
It's hidden.
Super chill. Okay. So getting back to it, I mean it's all of it, but yeah, this particular
Getting back to it,
it's
the
all
end.
Mueller. We're fucked. No, this particular branch, this is what we do know about it, even though it's really hard to get information. So far, we've learned that 5 of the 16 companies are affiliates or directors of Slip and Chunks banks or companies.
Are there any vowels in there?
There's a couple. We got 3. It's like playing Wheel of Fortune. Like, let me guess.
You like to buy a better name?
like to use that for bail
You can buy a
money.
shell company. You can change your last name.
Oh,
bro.
yes. Easily.
You can be Mikhail Summer Breeze.
Right.
You don't have to go with.
And a part of me does feel bad for making fun of their name because you can't help your name, but also you
you
can buy
can.
it. You technically can.
You can make a difference in
Right.
your own name. Slip and
If
Chunk
they weren't
sounds like
such crappy
something
people. Yeah.
something Saul Goodman would do. Like
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like some sort of like a when he used, I can't remember what he's got so many. That
Yeah.
show is so
It's
great.
a great one.
I'm sure he wasn't bullied as a child like he would be in the States.
Yeah, maybe not because that's probably more
Because
you
he's
know,
might be normal.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
That and he'll slit your throat.
Yeah, that too. So we also know that 3 of the 16 companies have directors that are affiliates of multiple large Russian banks, and we know that right. We know that one of the 16 companies use the same secretarial service as Paul Manafort in this Cyprus branch. So Scott goes way deeper into like the previous ownership of the Cy Group and this guy named Hamburger, and I'm sure he's a fun one. You guys you should really take out this article on Medium, but the summary is basically the August 2016 meeting in Trump Tower with Trump Jr., Eric Prince, George Nader, and Joel Zamel from Cy Group has become a direct focus of Mueller's investigation. He even subpoenaed them for their bank records, as we know, and Cyprus basically it's something that he's really into because you can't just Google it. And so not to mention that Zamel, whose companies have previously worked for Russian oligarchs, is currently working with investigators. And Zamel is also the CEO of Wikistrat, and we all know that because he made those business records public, which makes sense. But it's weird because now people wonder why he would try so hard to withhold his connection to Cy Group. So I feel like that's pretty much the gist of it. The update to our little Cy Group story.
Yeah, it sounds like that. He found a new. Yeah, Scott Stedman found a new connection. So.
Yeah.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you. I yield my time to the chair. Maxine Walters is my hero.
Reclaiming my time.
Yeah.
Reclaiming my time.
I just love watching her talk. She's just like,
She's
no
awesome.
shame. Yeah.
She's
I
awesome.
dig it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that.
Of course.
And the slip and chunk. I'm going to be enjoying that.
Slip and chunk. Yeah. Slip and slide is what I think. That's what now. Yeah.
Slip and chunk, hamburger, and Wikistrat. All the words that were in that article.
Yeah.
I know when I think of the names that we've been having to deal with, like cock and pecker and slip and chunk now.
Yeah. We're doing our best.
We try.
It's really
5 years old.
It's hard, you guys. It's really hard. Anyway, Jordan, you have an update on Nixon back, right?
Yes, Nixon back. Roger Stone.
I'm bringing Nixon back.
I'm thinking Nickelback.
God.
We got 2 different artists in mind. Yeah.
Oh yeah, mine's talented.
True.
Yep.
I do like Nickelback.
Like you openly aren't afraid to like Nickelback.
Oh,
like
same.
You're
I'm
out
the same.
and proud.
I'm the
Thank
same.
you, Jordan.
And Creed.
Yeah.
I'm not
and
even
Stained.
kidding. And Stained. Dude, I fuck with some Stained.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I feel like I've done that before on here.
We've done Creed. They sound similar.
How did I choose you?
I mean, it's more because like my dad would just drive me around and blast that shit. And,
Yeah, my mom would play Nickelback.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
God,
So
I'm
the
probably old enough to be your mother. That's freaking me out now. So now it's somebody my age who likes Nickelback
Yeah,
and Creed and Sting.
totally.
Oh, you know what? Let's talk about something more pleasant to me.
Roger Stone. Oh God, yeah. Okay, so Nixon back. He has another associate now, and to the longtime advisor Roger Stone, named Andrew Mueller, who has been subpoenaed before a grand jury by Robert Mueller and his team. So this now marks the 3rd person that has been subpoenaed in front of a grand jury, and they're going to do the same thing that the opposition has been doing, basically to question the validity of the subpoena on the grounds that Mueller was legally unsound and illegitimate in the appointment process.
Yeah, that's pretty much
His
the
appointment
going
was.
thing right now is to if you get subpoenaed by Mueller and you have to do something, what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to file a motion to say it's all illegitimate because Mueller should have never been appointed in the first place, and if he was supposed to be appointed, he's out of his scope. And that's been denied a few times by a couple of judges. So
yeah, it's the weakest defense. It is like, how many times do you think this is going to get tried in court? It's like it's a definition of insanity. Trying the same thing, think it's going to come back different.
Totally.
And as these judges keep denying it, it's just adding ammo for the next judge to say it's been denied twice by other judges, and judges are really big on respecting other judges' decisions.
Right, and
So-
stop wasting my time.
Ellis gets pissed.
Yeah,
as we know.
yeah, definitely. So there's not too much details yet. That the New York Times broke the story on Thursday. There's not too much details out as of now when we're recording this on this Andrew Mueller guy and any of the explicit details. But basically, this is in the same vein that he's investigating these other folks as it relates to whether or not Stone and his team had advanced knowledge of the material allegedly hacked by Russian intelligence. So that's primarily what this is related to. Miller's lawyer, his name is Paul Kamenar. I'm sure we'll be hearing his name a lot. He's the one that's going to try to file that motion and say that it was an illegitimate appointment of Robert Mueller. Just so absurd, makes me laugh. And the other two that are now in this camp as well, if you remember, Jason Sullivan is one that was also subpoenaed. He's the social media expert from California hired by Stone during the campaign. And he recently flew to Washington to appear before Mueller's grand jury, so it's not looking good, the prospects of the attorney getting...
He's a social media specialist. Okay. We probably know that guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised like if he's been to a mic or two.
Yeah.
You know, hey, what's up, Jason?
Yeah. Come to my show.
Totally.
And then the other guy is John Kakanis.
Kakanis. That's
Kakanis.
right.
Yeah, John Kakanis, who worked for Stone as an
Slip and
assistant
Shuck and
driver.
Kakanis. They should start a law firm together.
Yes.
Here at Slip and Shuck and Kakanis.
We obviously don't do real work.
Yeah, don't come to us. Bye.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm so sorry I stepped on your riff.
Slip and Shuck, Kakanis, and Pecker. We should find the best names in all of this whole investigation.
We'll put them all in a
Put them
hat
together in a
and
law
we'll figure
firm.
it out.
Yeah. Make some commercial. Chung chung. Slip and Shuck and Kakanis. We're here for you in case you slip and fall and some vomit.
That's the work they're gonna have to be reduced to after this
all
is
we
all
do
done.
is slip and fall and vomit cases.
Yeah.
At least they're consistent.
Yeah. Do you hear Trump's name and vomit and then slip in it?
Come to Slip and Shuck and Kakanis.
So yeah, John Kakanis, he worked for Stone as an assistant and driver. He was also subpoenaed to give testimony to Mueller, and that was reported by News last month. So Stone, as we know, just a refresher, aggressive political backer of Nixon and Trump. He was around during the Watergate scandal, and he just the walls are crumbling around this guy. He's in trouble, as we covered last week, for him and Caputo's exchange with Henry Greenberg.
Yeah.
And
the Russian with the MAGA hat.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's up, fellas?
Yeah.
Nothing weird here. You like? I get you stuff.
Yeah,
2 million.
Exactly. They failed to disclose to Congress that they met that character, and
Well, they forgot. They misremembered the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. When I was
I didn't even think of it until you brought it up.
Yeah, I didn't think of that guy completely decked out and Make America Great Again things, looking like a freaking idiot.
A Russian who asked for $2 million. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. My prediction is that their motion will not go through, and they will be forced to appear in front of that grand jury.
Oh, that's your prediction?
That is my prediction.
Put some beans on it.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah.
Slip and Chunk.
Stone did not respond to a request for comment on the Mueller subpoena as well.
Of course
They
not.
never do.
He won't respond legitimately, but he'll put something out on Instagram.
Yeah.
In a drunken cigar rant.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk a minute about Justice Kennedy, and Trump, and Kennedy's kid, and Deutsche Bank, and Russia. So it appears, on all accounts, that there's something more than just a normal justice retirement going on here. If you've noticed, in the past, Kennedy has been a swing vote that usually goes our way. Marriage equality is a good example. He tends to follow the zeitgeist, what the people want, right? The feeling of the time. That's what the zeitgeist is. Time ghost is what it is.
That's a cool name. That's what that means?
Yeah.
Time ghost?
Spirit of the times.
Holy shit, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Germans are neat. But recently, Kennedy has been coming down on the wrong side of shit. Folks like to blame Gorsuch, but it's important to note that Gorsuch and Slip and Chunk. Gorsuch replaced Scalia, okay? And Scalia was always an asshole.
Yeah.
So it's not like we got a bigger asshole. It's the same asshole in the asshole seat.
Yeah. Same size asshole.
Yeah, people like to blame Gorsuch, but Kennedy's the one that's, to me, been fucking up recently.
Yeah, and he wrote the opinion on Citizens United.
Oh, no.
Yes, he sure did. He's fucked us in a few times in a few ways. Something else to note, while Trump has been a vocal critic of SCOTUS, when I say SCOTUS, I mean the Supreme Court of the United States. Just so you know, and the judiciary in general, he has reserved any criticism when it comes to Kennedy. And I think that's by design, so that they could preserve Kennedy's legacy if he were to step down at the end of the most recent session, as he was rumored to be considering. Taking that a step further, the White House warned Kennedy that time was of the essence because of the impending and almost certain blue wave that would hit Congress in November. So as much as Trump's out there, it'll be a red wave, everything's going my way.
Right.
I'm walking on sunshine. As much as he's out there saying that, behind closed doors, he's like, we're going to get our fucking asses kicked in November.
Yeah.
And we need to do this now.
He wants to show a sign of strength, and I get that. But yeah,
Well, not just that. He wants to do this before we take over Congress so we can block his nomination.
Exactly.
And as far as anyone can tell, there were no direct efforts to lobby Kennedy directly to resign. And this is not the first time a president has done their level best to create a vacancy in the Supreme Court. Either way, there was a concentrated yet subtle effort to ensure the vacancy, giving Trump the opportunity to change the essence and direction of the SCOTUS for decades to come.
They were thinking long term for sure.
That's what the SCOTUS is.
Yeah. It's just I didn't even consider it when they were like holding back the nomination when Obama was president. I was like, oh man, this sucks. But I was like, well, it's not gonna.
Well, that's why everybody was pissed off at progressives who refused to vote for Hillary.
Yeah.
Because that's fine, and now you're going to be stuck with a hard right court for the rest of your fucking life.
Exactly.
Good luck trying to get an abortion. Or
right.
Good luck trying to get married gay, or good luck whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Good luck being brown.
Lifetime. Yeah. You're so right.
And that's one of the reasons, I was trying to get people to vote for Hillary, because not just because she was a qualified candidate, and whatever you think of her, but the important thing is that I've got a lot of privilege, but there are people whose lives are depending on the fact that Trump didn't become president,
right?
And now seems to be actually what's happening.
I keep thinking, like, if Hillary won, people wouldn't have been like crying for their lives the way that people cry over Trump. Like, it's just so many people I know like are terrified about a Trump presidency, and we're in it, and now we know why. Like, if people didn't realize at the time, we have
concentration camps for babies.
Exactly. Like, it's already happening. We're already here.
Internment camps.
Whatever
Tender
word makes
age
you feel camps. Yeah, whatever makes you not break down on television. Like Rachel Maddow, she's my hero, and seeing her, like, I know it was like a couple of weeks ago now, but like still, like that's. Gosh, the fact that this is our reality. It's still,
no, I mean, I didn't want to offend
people,
the Jewish people by
I see what you're saying. Exactly. I thought you were being almost
sarcastic.
Yeah, but you're right. It's not the same as that. It's also terrifying that even in this is where we are already.
It doesn't have to be the same as that for it to be really shitty.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, have you guys noticed? Usually, the right hates Kennedy. Usually. He voted to uphold access to abortion, he voted to limit the death penalty, and he voted for marriage equality. So there's been times conservatives wanted to actually impeach Kennedy, which you can do, by the way. So with the announcement of his retirement, it becomes clear why Trump was being so nice to him all these years. And it didn't stop with the niceness. Okay. Gorsuch clerked for Kennedy, as did two other picks Trump made for future vacancies, Kavanaugh and Kethledge. Not to mention, you know how the Trump White House has been staffing all the lower courts. They are usually clerks of Kennedy's. So he's really trying to put his legacy in there to make him feel good about retiring.
Yeah.
So what is there beyond the ass-kissing and the clerky nepotism? How about actual familial nepotism? Kennedy's kid.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Justin. His name's Justin.
Justin. If it were a girl, it'd probably be Justice. Or Justice could be like a gender-neutral name.
You're weird.
I might name my kid Justice, yeah.
What kid?
I might have a kid.
Put it down.
What?
Hey, that's payback for you wanting to put my cat to sleep
True.
last week.
I wouldn't have him anytime soon. You're right about that. I had no way in shape am I ever ready right now. But please continue.
You know what? You're never ready.
I might not ever.
Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
No one's ever ready for
Good point.
I wasn't even ready for a dog, so and here I have one. Justin, what's up, bro? Sounds like a douche. He is.
Oh, no.
He is. Justin spent more than a decade at Deutsche Bank, eventually becoming their global head of real estate capital markets.
Oh my God.
Know any other douches in real estate with ties to Deutsche Bank? Yep. Anybody?
Jesus.
Anyone?
Not Jesus, Trump. Sorry.
Jesus isn't into real estate very much. He's a carpenter, builds his own shit.
Right.
Justin was Trump's most important lender. In the late aughts, when the economy crashed, 06, 07, and Trump was on his 5th bankruptcy or some shit. I don't know, I'm guessing. Some bankruptcy. No one would lend him or his family any fucking money except Russia through Deutsche Bank, who ended up giving him well over $1 billion in loans.
Oh my goodness.
When no other reputable bank would. And this is just Justin. This isn't Deutsche Bank or Russia in general. This is just Justin.
Yeah.
So now, is this weird?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Did anything illegal happen here?
No, I'm guessing.
Not that I can tell on the face of it. There's a lot of conjecture out there about possible quid pro quo, or maybe a big payoff to get Kennedy to resign, maybe from the Kochs. But I don't see that as being something we can rely on as truth at this point. The only thing I think that stands between Trump and a new Supreme Court justice is absolute and unequivocal evidence that would implicate Trump in his campaign in crimes of collusion. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that in time because he's making a pick on July 9th. Okay, that's what, a week from now?
Yeah.
I don't understand how, is this like a Democratic way of doing things where we say we're going to allow the Republicans to take this in an unprecedented way, this position, and then we'll just watch them take it like...
We have no power in Congress.
That's what it is? Okay.
That's exactly what
and
it is.
And we have no time. Yeah.
And we have no time. Well,
wow.
Anyway, I don't think we're going to get that kind of crime until the fall.
Yeah, yeah.
Kennedy retires at the end of July. Trump said he's going to make his pick July 9th. That's a week from now. McConnell went nuclear on SCOTUS nominations last year, meaning they only need a simple majority to confirm a justice. So the Dems cannot filibuster, and we have no power in either house to legally stop this. So there's been a lot of, he shouldn't be able to make this pick because he's under investigation. Sorry, that's not a rule. They shouldn't be able to make this pick if the Supreme Court is going to be the one that's deciding his case.
But was their rule a rule? Was it a real one that you can't have a Supreme Court pick during an election year? Is that a real rule?
That's just what, it's not a rule, it's just what McConnell
No,
was
that's not a rule, but they had the power in the Congress.
Yeah, you're right. It's just, the hypocrisy always blows my mind.
You have to remember who's in charge,
exactly.
Right? So here's what we have to do. I have an idea, okay? And I know that I was a little less than optimistic this week. Everyone's like, hey, gee, help me out. Make me feel better. I'm like,
were in shock.
We're fucked. Canada, here we come. But, here's what you have to do. Action, right? So get a pen. We have to put some senators on blast, including Claire McCaskill, Susan Collins, Bob Corker, and Jeff Flake. The first two are moderate pro-choice female Republicans. The latter two just hate Trump. Okay, and you could throw McCain in there too if you want, but I don't think he's well enough to vote.
Right.
So I don't think he is actually in the mix at this point. So again, Claire McCaskill, Susan Collins, Bob Corker, and Jeff Flake. If we can get two of them to block a nomination until the election,
it'll work.
Yes.
Oh, well, let's do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So call them, write them, go out to their offices. If you're in Maine, go see Susan. If go to their office, make noise, and we have to do it. We have a week to do it. We have a week to convince them that McConnell held off the nomination of Merrick Garland for a year because he said the election was coming up and he wanted the people to decide. Well, we have an election coming up. And if he's going to stay consistent with that message, the people should be able to decide.
Right.
And
he's not.
In order,
he won't. We should hold him.
He won't, but that is what we can tell
the
Corker, McCaskill, Collins, McCain, and Flake.
Exactly.
So make, write.
Spam them.
Calls.
Tweet storm. That's
everything.
what I'm going to do. Tweet storm.
Tweet everything that you can do. Call to action. You heard it from me. Do it now.
Yes.
I assume there will be a lot of arguments saying, like I said, a president under investigation should not be able to pick a judge because the judge may be deciding subpoenas in cases involving the president. Others will say he was elected illegitimately. Trump was elected illegitimately. He shouldn't be able to pick a judge. Additionally, others are telling me that if it turns out there's a massive, disgusting level of illegal activity with Russia, we should be able to go back in time and undo SCOTUS nominations. I don't think that's how it works, and that's never happened. I wish there was a way. One of our listeners even suggested changing the number of justices through an act of Congress. And this has happened before a few times, but there's a few things wrong with this idea, because first of all, you need 60 votes in the Senate right now to pass a law because of the filibuster, which is used every time now. And we don't have that, and we're not going to have it after November.
Right.
It's mathematically impossible. And even if we could, those seats, those justices are removed through attrition, meaning you wait for them to retire and then you just don't backfill their seat.
Oh.
So it's not like you get to just, we're going down to 7 justices. You and you, pack your bags. It's not how it goes. You have to wait until the next 2 retire, and then you don't get to backfill them. And you just hope that those 2 are hard right people, and they're not going to be. It's going to be, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And
I don't know if this was Putin's plan or just the Republicans, but somebody, they're all putting their eggs in so many different baskets to, ruin the Republic, and, this is one of the ones that's actually working. Maybe they couldn't do the bans, and they couldn't do, other stuff, and, we caught them with some of the hacking, but this is one of the avenues that they took that they're oh, they actually might get this one. And I didn't even personally see it coming. I mean, I remember when we were flipping out over, when Obama was president, but I forgot that this one was the one that was going to come back to bite us. Just like net neutrality might come back around, and we're all just yeah, I guess it happened.
No, honestly, we didn't know.
Yeah.
I was
so
surprised
guilty.
and that he didn't wait, and I was a little pissed off by that.
Yeah.
And now there is the possibility of impeaching a justice, but again, you need a filibuster-proof majority, and you also need cause. So don't expect that to be a way out.
Right. Politics
so
and cause,
I'm afraid this is how it's going to go down. Unless, of course, we hit up those 4 senators I mentioned, urge them to block the nomination until the election so we can get back into the majority and control the pick the way McConnell did with Merrick Garland. Again, Claire McCaskill, Susan Collins, Bob Corker, Jeff Flake, John McCain. And again, I'm not sure if John McCain's well enough.
You probably shouldn't spam
to
him,
vote,
right?
and I feel ill
unless
at
you want to
ease
say
urging
get
anyone
well,
to flood him with protests.
Don't say get well. That seems awful.
So call your senators, those 4. Don't relent. Use your voices. Tell them to block this nomination. If anyone else can think of any legal angle that I'm missing, hit us up at Mueller She Wrote on Twitter so we can spread the word. I'm happy to do it. This is the only thing I can come up with right now, and I'm sorry. I was sitting there last night why didn't I fucking go to law school? God damn it. I wanted to have that thought.
Yeah, that's funny because 5 minutes ago I was just thinking that I was I just want to go to law school so I can just
understand.
Know. Yeah.
So we can always study it. There's Google for everything.
So you can know what to do.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Anyway, sorry I wish the news was better, but that's my plan.
That's our new slogan. I wish the news was better.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Are you fascinated by mysterious legends, the paranormal, or UFOs?
Do stories of murder, missing persons, and con men send you down internet rabbit holes?
Did you grow up watching the TV show Unsolved Mysteries?
Does Robert Stack's voice haunt your nightmares?
Then our podcast is for you.
I'm Liz.
And I'm Samantha.
Join us every Wednesday as we discuss the original Robert Stack episodes of Unsolved Mysteries.
Follow along with us on Amazon Prime or just tune in for our weekly podcast.
We are on iTunes, Google Play, and social media at Perhaps It's You.
Hello, welcome back. Are you guys ready for our Fantasy Indictment League?
Yeah.
Today's Fantasy Indictment League, Celebrity Edition, we have the one and only Rogue NASA. We follow them on Twitter if you're not already. They're truly amazing. They have 1 million followers. I can't tell you about the nature of who's behind it, and we need to disguise their voice. I don't even do that. So they're super top secret.
Mm-hmm.
That's how awesome they are and how much they have to make sure that they're shielded from this administration. So welcome, Rogue NASA. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
So tell us how Rogue NASA got started.
Sure. The Rogue NASA Twitter account is the unofficial resistance team from NASA. On day one, this administration began removing climate science from government websites, and we knew we had to take a stand. If NASA is ever silenced, we will continue to communicate climate change. It's part of our mission, which says NASA is tasked with providing the widest practicable and appropriate dissemination of information concerning its activities and the results thereof. We think what this administration is doing is wrong, and if NASA information is removed or our scientists are told to stop talking, we will be there for them.
Well, I'm glad to hear you'll be for us if NASA is ever silenced. You said you don't agree with what this administration is doing, but what about Space Force?
We don't need a Space Force. Military leaders have come out against it. Astronauts have come out against it. The Air Force already does the job and they do it well. We do need to monitor space junk and there is some cause for concern to our satellites, but we don't need a separate branch of the military to deal with it. And if he is talking about weaponizing space, that's an entirely different issue altogether.
Well, who has any idea what he's talking about, right? So we have a weekly fantasy indictment league here on Mueller, She Wrote, where we ask celebrity guests, such as yourself, or at least people I consider to be celebrities, to pick 3 people they think will be indicted next, like their dream draft. So who would you pick and why?
So while I want it to be someone like Jared, I'm going to say he's ineligible based on his proximity to God Emperor. This leaves me to choose between those who aren't in the White House, who aren't family, who aren't cooperating, and those names I only know. For instance, the random Dutch lawyer married to the daughter of the oligarch. I never would have guessed him. Let's say Michael Cohen is ineligible because technically he is not part of the Mueller investigation. Yet. Let's narrow it down. Roger Stone. Eric Prince because he just turned over his phones and laptops, so it might be too soon. Besides, that guy is a Bond villain and he knows how to hide evidence. Carter Page. Flynn Jr. Though Daddy probably made that sweet deal to spare the man behind the worst Twitter account ever. Just by previous indictments, at least one will be someone we've never heard of before / are completely not expecting. So I'll go with Roger Stone because he said it himself lately and there's no way Nixon Jr. is clean. Julian Assange for 2 reasons. 1. Roger Stone, and 2. WikiLeaks released the emails. And Carter Page because he's had how many FISA warrants against him now? You don't get that by being a good boy, and he probably lied before Congress.
All right, so you got Stone, Page, and Assange. I think those are good picks. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the Mueller investigation?
No one is above the law. There are Mueller firing rapid response protests ready to go, so find one near you. If Mueller, Rosenstein, or hell, even Sessions are fired with the intent of getting rid of Mueller, we march. You can get information at act.moveon.org.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, and thank you for the work that you do. Again, you can follow Rogue NASA on Twitter at Rogue NASA. They've been featured on BBC, CBS, and now Mueller, She Wrote. So have a great week. Thanks again for talking to us. Awesome, right?
Yeah,
So
cool.
I know. Now, I also want to add to Fantasy Indictment League your Andrew Miller.
Yeah.
From your Roger Stone aide that Jordan talked about. So put him down. Whoever's keeping track of these, I don't know.
Yeah.
If anyone actually has an actual ongoing list of our fantasy team, reach out. I'd love to get a copy.
That would be great.
I feel like people are going through the episodes, and I think if we put a wiki together, that we should have on the episode listing who the fantasy indictment picks are for that week.
Good
right?
idea.
I'm imagining a table with each episode title, the news stories that are covered, and the indictment picks for that week. That's how I'm seeing it.
That'd be nice, yeah.
All right, you guys ready for sabotage?
Oh, yeah.
All right, a story was published this week in the New York Times about Rosenstein. Snoop Dogg. Thanks to Asha.
Or South Dakota say Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg.
Oh, very nice.
Snoop Dogg. Hey? Despite his awesome... South Dakota is fun. Despite his awesome performance on the Hill this week in that idiotic emergency session on the House Judiciary Committee, it appears that when Trump forced Snoop Dogg to draft that memo to fire Comey, like firing Comey because of his handling of the Hillary investigation, that actually really shook Rosenstein. According to 4 people familiar with the matter, Rosenstein repeatedly expressed anger about feeling like the White House used him as a puppet to fire Comey. Now, in public, he shows none of that, right? But apparently behind closed doors, he appeared very conflicted. Now, we all know that House Republicans are trying to impeach Rosenstein by subpoenaing documents they know he's unable to produce because the DOJ policies disallow the production of classified materials in an ongoing investigation, right? So they're just trying to get him in a position where the president has reason to fire him so that he can install someone that will impede the Mueller probe. And we've talked about it for months now on this show, the fear of Rosenstein being removed and replaced by someone who will block the Mueller investigation.
Exactly.
Well, it occurred to me what one of Mueller's backup plans might be. Do you guys remember when we were talking about whether or not Mueller can indict a sitting president?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy who wrote the Department of Justice policy saying that you cannot indict a sitting president, said that you actually can, as long as the Attorney General, or in this case, Snoop Dogg, because the Attorney General is the racist possum has recused. As long as you get permission from the boss can rewrite the policy.
Nice.
Right? We've talked about this.
Yeah.
This part isn't news. Well, built into that rule is the notion that if Mueller asks the Deputy Attorney General for permission to indict the president, and Rosenstein says no, or the Deputy Attorney General says no, the special counsel can then release a full report to Congress. And not Devin Nunes, I mean the Gang of Eight, both parties, okay? And that might be their play if Rosenstein gets replaced. So let's pretend for a minute that the indictments are not handed out prior to the election, giving time to the House GOP to create a pretext for Trump to fire Rosenstein. And let's say he does. And let's say Mueller still doesn't get his indictments out while Noel Francisco is the acting Deputy Attorney General. He's the Solicitor General right now.
Right.
He's the guy who went out to dinner publicly with Jeff Sessions and Rosenstein.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's the third in line for that. So he'll be acting. And let's say even during that time, Mueller doesn't get his shit done, right?
Mm-hmm.
After all that, if Trump does get to install a patsy to run the Mueller investigation, I believe Mueller can file sealed indictments, leave him on the docket, then ask the new guy for permission to indict Trump. That person will inevitably say no, and then we get a full public report of his findings, a mechanism of the current policy that would not otherwise be in place.
Wow.
I think that's going to be the way shit goes down.
safe.
So
Yeah.
I actually, as much as I would rather have Rosenstein continue this investigation, it may come to a point where he has to recuse himself, because if he's been upset and felt used by the White House, like he was made to write this memo for a pretext to fire Comey when the real reason was the Russia investigation, then he might have to recuse himself because he's a witness. And if he does that, I feel safe knowing that Mueller can just ask the new guy, can I indict Trump? No. All right, cool. And then write the whole fucking report and give it to Congress.
Wow.
Both parties of Congress. Anyway, put some beans on it.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
It is. This is making me think too what a bummer it is that these things are so nuanced and detailed, because the American people do not have the time nor desire generally, I mean, our listeners do because we're civically engaged, but like just watching the hearing between Ray Rosenstein and basically the GOP aggressors, it's like when they present things that at face value, to Rosenstein, like, how can you be overseeing an investigation that's based on you firing? So and it's like people have to really be smart and dig deep for information and think about stuff like you think about it. And
I love the way he said, believe me, if I could recuse myself, I would. I don't want to have fucking anything to do with this ever at all. Trust me, sir, I would.
Yeah.
You're right, though, about the critical thinking element. That's so important.
Yeah, that's the rant. Thank you for wrapping it up. That's
no
basically
worries,
what it is.
dude. Yeah, I feel like, honestly, like, this is one of the things that, like, in school, I enjoy critical reading, but I sucked at other subjects, so I feel like some people are just, it was never their thing, so they're not going to naturally watch these videos and be like, oh, I wonder what's going on between the lines.
Exactly.
They're just going to take in what they see and be like, oh, I guess that's
first
what's
of all,
happening.
they're not even going to watch it.
That's true, but
C-SPAN.
the highlights, even if they catch a hearsay or something, you're just going to pick up on the rhetoric that these, like, Republicans are dragging on. Like,
and honestly, if they see that clip with Jim Jordan that we played earlier, I'm fine with that, because he got his ass handed to him. I don't even care what the nuances are.
You're right, because
that.
we know,
Exactly. It's like, fuck that guy. He's one of the punchable face guys. Shkreli, Spencer, who's the other asshole whose face I want to punch?
I wanted to
all the
punch
time?
Gowdy watching him on C-SPAN.
Gowdy. All right, you guys, down with the Q&A this week. We have a Q&A this week.
Yay. I missed that.
Yeah, me too. We've had a Flip It Blue segment taking the place of this, and so we did have quite a lot of questions. Sarah Oatman said, quote, since FBI counsel advised Strzok not to answer certain questions at the committee hearing the other day, Rosenstein said, quote, if you have a problem with the instructions given, unquote. With that being said, does this mean all of the conjecture around prior witnesses not answering questions to the House intel could legitimately have been instructed as well? Good question. I think the FBI could have instructed Hope Hicks and Steve Bannon, for example, not to answer questions in that forum in Congress. And we know that Ted Lieu has asked for the transcripts of Strzok's interview. He's asked for that to be released, and the Republicans are refusing and fighting it, meaning the testimony is probably not good for them. And the questions that, because I mean, I think we heard some people when we were watching the hearing, we heard some of the senators or the congressmen saying that they were upset that Strzok was told not to answer certain questions, and he wouldn't because they're part of an open and ongoing investigation.
I was just gonna say, yeah, exactly. It's like legal advice that they're getting,
right?
Not like, don't tell them this.
Yeah, and when Bannon and Hicks refused to answer questions, they could have been instructed by the FBI or Mueller's team to not answer questions pertinent to an open and ongoing investigation. And I'm sorry, but your president is being investigated right now. So anything that he wants to know is probably not going to be able to be answered. Irene Rao says she read somewhere that if Dems take the Senate and the House in 2018 and the presidency in 2020, that it would be possible to change the size of SCOTUS from 9 to 11 justices. Is that accurate, and what gives them the mechanism? We talked about this earlier. The number of justices can be changed by Congress at any time, and they've done it in the past. They just have to pass a law. But you need a filibuster-proof majority now, and that would be mathematically impossible in the Senate in 2018. I'd have to see how many seats are up in the Senate in 2020, but I still don't think it would be mathematically possible.
What do you think about that, about doing that, changing the amount of seats? I feel like that's not a good approach.
You could add a couple and then appoint a couple, to swing the court your way. But I don't think that that's politically a favorable thing to do.
I agree.
It would, although I would pull McConnell's trick on him again if I had power in the Congress. I'd say, no, sorry, we're not gonna, because you're under investigation, and that's what I'm gonna say. And you can do that if you have the majority. You can say that shit, right?
Yeah, I also feel like playing that sort of game and playing that dirty game, kind of, we just shouldn't go down that road in that way.
Might have to, but
yeah,
I agree. I'd rather not play dirty games, but it also has gotten us nowhere.
Yeah,
going high and being nice,
right,
and not having a solid, weird, authoritarian propaganda message has not really benefited us in the past.
Yeah.
And Catherine Jones in Sydney, Australia. Hi, Australia.
Oh,
she asked where we're getting our info that Trump staff can't get dates.
Oh, yeah.
Are you looking? Or well, that story came out all over the place last week. No pun intended. I first saw it. I think in Vanity Fair, and I think GQ did one.
Yeah, I saw the GQ one.
Yeah. So I think somebody linked that on our Facebook page for you as well. Deborah Jones wants to know what's up with Gowdy. What's ever up with Gowdy? He to sit there and say, "Finish the hell up," and he's all slouched and he's got his like man spreading, and it's just a really
cocky motherfucker,
disrespectful body language, if I can say that, if that makes sense. And he's got his elbow on the desk, and he's holding his head, and he's got his big old feet crossed. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all rhetoric,
and he's complaining about the length of the investigation, the shortest investigation we've had by far of any major investigation, least expensive, probably the most efficiently run investigation. So Mr. 4-year Benghazi over here is telling us to finish the hell up on an investigation about Russian meddling, not Benghazi. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Gowdy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, horrible. Him and Jim Jordan definitely get the award for making me most infuriated and want to punch a face.
Gross, right? Yeah. Goodlatte was kind of a dick too, especially to the female congresswoman from
Jackson Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she's like, "Can we get an explanation for why we needed to expedite this and not give them appropriate notice?"
Yeah, and he just shut her down and said, "Fuck off."
He put his finger in her face.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh my God.
I would break that shit off.
Seriously.
That's why you should vote for me when I run. Stacey Fuller asked why this administration thinks it's okay to interfere in a federal investigation. The only answer I have is there's no other option for them right now. Mueller's got them dead to rights, and they don't have any other way out, and they have no good defense. Have you noticed how quiet Rudy's been lately?
Yeah, that is true.
It's weird, right? But his job was to come out and just force a bunch of false negative rhetoric about Mueller's probe, the investigation, branding it a witch hunt, and it's working. The approval rating for the Mueller investigation has gone from 48% to 41%. And I think 59% don't even realize that we've had any convictions.
Oh, Jesus.
Or indictments.
Right.
89 felonies.
Oh my God.
22 indictments. 5 guilty pleas. Actually, I think we're up to 6. Anyway, there's probably like 10. We just don't know. Lee Burdick wants to know why we aren't fighting a Trump SCOTUS appointment based on the sound reasoning that a president under criminal investigation should not get to appoint a judge. I agree with you, but there's no law that says he can't, and we don't have any power in the Congress.
Right.
Again, like I said, if we had the majority in the Congress, if we can get those 4 senators to get us through to November, and we can flip the Congress, then we can say, no, you know what? We don't think it would be right for you to appoint a judge that will eventually have to decide maybe a subpoena case in your Russian collusion situation.
Seriously. And it's also like, let's say that we could go back and retroactively, rescind the Supreme Court justice nomination because he gets found, guilty. It was confirmed by Congress. So I think because of that reason alone, they wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, I could see that. Let's see. Greg Nahey wants to know how many shopping days until Christmas.
Ooh.
1. You have 1 day to buy your Mueller, She Wrote live tickets. And then you can get your hands on all of our merch. Including men's and women's shirts. We have Sexty Justice calendars. They make a nice gift. Stickers, polonium tea. I'm sure there's other stuff we'll have too. But you have 1 day, just so you know. If you can't make it out, you can shop at our online store, right? MuellerSheWrote.com. Part of the proceeds from our patrons also go to Swing Left to help flip Congress blue. So check that out. Ian Palmer wants to know if I know where he left his wallet. Yes. You left it at the store. Brandon Potter at BPOT Comic says, quote, are the Dems going to be punk ass bitches with the next SCJ, or are they going to do everything they can to stop this, at least before November's election? Again, it's hard not to be a punk ass bitch when you're in the minority. It's just hard. I think we've gone over. I think we've answered this. But like I said, best thing you can do is flood McCaskill, Flake, Corker, and Collins with phone calls. Those are our 4 most likely to block any hard right nominee.
Yeah, I do feel like too, if Trump wants to get someone in there, he's gonna have to pick someone that's more moderate, because if it's too right, if they're too right, I don't know if that would go through. It might take longer, and then
good.
Yeah,
pick a hard writer and see.
Yeah,
if
I
hope
he picks a ridiculous person. Oh gosh, I don't want to say that, but
I know, right? It's
yeah,
like, now you're like,
that could
what
be
am
bad.
I talking about?
Yeah.
At Pat Stowe says, quote, taking into account that he's meticulously systematic, how far along would you say we are into the Mueller investigation? Middle, endish? Well, the FBI, and by proxy Bob Mueller, they don't interview the subject until the very end. If you remember when I don't know if you're part of the MSW book club, but when they were doing the Hillary email investigation, they interviewed her on July 2nd, and they made their finding speech on July 5th, and they investigated for a year. So that the fact that they're ready to interview Trump, and they have been for like a month now, I think is indicative of we're at the end. I think he'll have his obstruction portion done here in July, and then there will likely be indictments for crimes of collusion in the fall, or maybe even before August 24th, which is when they have to come up with that minute order that the judge put in. That's where I think we are, and that is total conjecture. Could be next year, dude. I don't even. But that's based on what I'm seeing. I think we're at the end.
Yeah, it does seem like I would say, this is totally pulled out of my ass, but like 75%. I think there's a little bit longer to go.
In other tendrils,
yes,
right? Of the, because there's so many, and there's so much shit we don't know. I have to say this every single time we talk about this. What we know, what we're reporting to you, is like probably less than 1/10 of 1%. 1/10 of 1% of the top wealthiest people. I just went on a Bernie rant. Seriously, tiny fraction of what is actually known, and we're usually 4 to 6 months behind Mueller. When we report this shit, it's shit that he did 6 months ago.
Yeah, totally.
So please keep that in mind. What we know is that we know nothing.
Yeah.
At MK Gulata wants to know, what are the chances the judicial appointments can be revoked if criminal charges are brought against Trump? I doubt that's likely at all. Criminal charges were filed against Clinton, and he was impeached, and they did not revoke his pick of Justice Breyer. So
Right.
you can have Congress impeach a justice, like I said, for cause, but you have to have the majority. This is well-covered ground. I just don't think it's feasible. Desi, or 2source_E_PP tape, asked if we're sure nothing has been leaking from Mueller's team, because he hears, quote, people familiar with the investigation cited all the time as sources. I think these are witnesses that come out from the grand jury process and talk. Unless they're gagged, they're under no obligation not to talk.
I was gonna say, what are do you know what the process is to issue a gag order on someone other than just issuing them one?
I think he probably has it at the ready when they're in the room.
Okay.
And he says, all right, this is what you can't talk about. Have a nice day.
Mhm.
I'm so guessing.
Right.
But that's how, if I just picture Mueller operates, like he has everything lined up.
Yeah. I wonder if he strategically is not issuing gag orders to certain people.
We've talked about that.
We did, yeah.
I think I feel like that could be a possibility.
Yeah.
Cass Smiley wants to know, upon hearing that 45 gets to pick another judge, how do you unshit your pants?
Time travel.
Yeah. I don't know that you can. You're going to need the Omega-13 device.
I've never heard, or I've never even thought of unshitting your pants. That's so funny.
It just, yeah, I'm sorry. That was really, that's gross.
That's
okay.
the only way it could happen.
You need a funnel.
Oh,
and
man.
butt chug stuff. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Don't make me talk about it, Cass. At Science versus Trump asked, what the fuck is going on with Kennedy's son? This is the same question that was asked by at Cruising Donkey 2. Don't know what that's about. At Reading Kendra, Antigone, which is at ANT1_G0NE. Make it more complicated.
Yeah.
I love the name Antigone.
Yeah,
though.
it's a really cool name.
Karen Rasmussen at Ras Karen Ras. All these people want to know what the hell's going on with Justice Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, rewind, scroll up.
Yeah.
It's bad. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Jennifer Long asked if we think the Trump-Putin summit is a cover-up for helping coordinate the election in the fall. No, I don't think it would be up front like that.
Yeah, that's a little bit too obvious, I would
They
think.
have like 97 back channels, so they probably are using those.
That's true. It's just a front door approach, maybe.
Right, like, well, they shut down all my back channels. What am I supposed to do? Yeah, no, I think that's a little overt.
I think so, too. I am sort of surprised, though, that they're doing that so soon and in the midst of all of this.
It's actually, like I said, the optics could be really bad. If they get all these pictures of Trump and Putin hanging out together, and then it comes out that some sort of crimes of collusion and conspiracy indictments come out before the election, which I think they will, that's going to look really bad.
Yeah.
For them.
I'm fantasizing the morning we wake up and see it on the news that he has charges against him for collusion and conspiracy.
I know. Finally, at All Things Mueller asked how Jaleesa is the best hype woman in the world and if he can hire her. No. Well, I don't know. Do you have any spare time?
It's so time consuming to do. It's very sweet though.
She is the best hype woman in the world. You can't have her, at least not for Mueller stuff. Anything else though, I mean, of course. I don't know your life. I'm not in charge. Thank you though for that compliment, because we do really appreciate Jaleesa here. So, well, all right, you guys, that's been our show. I'm AG.
I'm Jaleesa Johnson.
I'm Jordan Coburn.
And this is Mueller, She Wrote. Mueller, She Wrote is produced and engineered by AG with editing and logo design by Jaleesa Johnson. Market consulting by Amanda Reeder at Unicorn Creative. Our digital media director and subscriber managers are Jordan Coburn and Sarah Hirschberger Valencia. Our partners are fastgrass.org and joysteaspoon.com. Fact-checking and research by AG with support from Jaleesa Johnson and Jordan Coburn. Mueller, She Wrote staff includes AG, Jaleesa Johnson, Jordan Coburn, Sarah Hirschberger Valencia, Jesse Egan, and Sarah Lee Steiner. Our web design and branding are by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios, and our website is MuellerSheWrote.com.